is our week 2 recap for Sophie. Good girl. So starting this week, we charged the clicker like we did last week. Not as many times as we did the first week. At this point, she should hopefully know what that click means. We continued to have her following the food lure. This week we are taking more steps, so increasing the distance we have her follow. Very good girl. Sophie! Having her follow that food lure paired with her name. Good girl. Sophie! Good job, babe. Ready? Get it. Touch. Good girl. This week for the hand target, I do not have any food in my hand, so I'm putting out a flat palm. Good girl. Touch. You know what to do. Ooh, let's try this hand. Touch. Good girl. So I'll warm her up with some food to start. So food in hand, touch. Good girl. Touch. And that second one did not have any food. So our goal with the hand target this week is to fade the use of food for the initial touch. So when we fade that, the first 2 repetitions I will use food still. Hey, what's this? Touch. Good job. Food in hand, touch. No food, touch. Good girl. And I will still click and then reach in my pouch and grab her a piece of food. Good girl. Ready? Get it. Continuing to toss those get it cookies. This week she knows what that cookie means, so she is able to run further for her get it cookies. We'll play some name games still. Get it. Sophie. Good girl. So moving myself around, calling her name once she's done eating her cookie. I know, babe. Get it. Sit. Good girl. So this week we're getting our sits without the food lure. I'm still clicking and feeding once she's in position, but I'm using my verbal, get it, and a hand signal. Sit. Good girl. The new thing this week we worked on was getting into a down. So while she's in a sit, I have food in this hand. We are together, gonna kind of slowly go down. Good girl. And as soon as she's in position, so butt's on the ground and front elbows have also hit the ground, that is what we're clicking. Down. Good girl. Yeah, you're so smart. Down. Good job, babe. Yeah. That's not food. Ready? Get it. Sophie. Good girl. Another new thing that we worked on this week was loading in and out of the crate. You're so cute. Here, kennel. As soon as 4 paws are in, we're clicking. She has food in there. Gate is closed, clicking and giving her a piece of food. And then we're gonna teach her how to not rush out when we open the gate. So I'm gonna have food ready in my hand. As I'm opening, I will show her the food, drop a piece for staying in there. Okay. And then the next piece will be my release cookie. Look at you, pretty girl. Come here. Ready? Kennel. Good job. Closing that gate. Very good girl. Good Okay, and a release cookie. Good girl. Yeah, that's it. I know you love it. Good job, babe. All right, and then the next thing we worked on this week is going to be step 2 of the mat. So remember last week, step 1, we continued to pick up and move the mat. This week, we kept the mat stationary, so where it is, where we lay it. We released her from the mat in the hopes of her coming back. Go to your mat. Good girl. And because she has proven that she knows how to get into a down on this mat, that is the criteria for her. I'm not clicking and feeding until she is in her down. Good girl. Okay. Go to your mat. Good job, pretty girl. So initial click and cookie right in between her legs. Follow up with another cookie in between her legs to keep her in that position. My cookies are not coming too quickly, but also not slow enough where she wants to leave. Okay. Go to your mat. Right on the edge. Yeah, good girl. And remember, we are gonna throw, oops. She found a crumb, so she just left the mat on her own. I cued it with an oops, got her back. I'm not gonna click and feed that, but we are just gonna continue in with what we're working on. Okay. We'll do it one more time. Go to your mat. Good girl. And just remember to toss your release cookies in different directions. Right now I really can't throw it that way because we have the gate. So I'm just throwing it in different directions that way. But at home, use the space you have. Okay. Such a good girl. And at home, when you guys are first practicing this, I would go back to step 1. So warm her up with step 1 and then get into step 2. Go to your mat. You're so excited. Yes, pretty girl. Good job. Okay. Go to your mat. Good job. So I just wanted to do a rep where I knew she could go that way and come back from that direction. Good girl, right there. Good girl. We have a tractor going by right now, so I'm marking and feeding for her, acknowledging the tractor and not leaving her mat. Very good girl. Okay. Good job. Do you want to play with your toy for a minute? Yeah. Here you go. I'm going to take a little break, see if she wants to play with her toy here. So far this week, she has shown little interest in the toy because she's just so eager to work and earn those cookies. Good girl. Yeah, good job. So a little recap on what we worked on so far. This week we are having her continue to follow her food lure, pairing that food lure with her name. We're working on sits, hey ma'am, without any food, so using that hand signal and a verbal to get her into position. Working on a lured down, so still using food to lure her into that down position. Step 1 to her crate, cueing her inside the kennel, clicking and feeding once she has 4 paws in, and then clicking and feeding once the gate door is closed.
Excuse me, ma'am.
And then practicing that slow release of us having her wait in her kennel before we release her out. And then the next step to the mat, step 2, so the mat stays stationary. We release her from the mat in the hopes of her coming back to the mat on her own. The final thing that we worked on this week was our handling exercises. So reviewing the skills we worked on last week. Yes, good girl. This week, I'm adding duration to the handling that we're working on. So I'm increasing the amount of time that I have my hands on her. Hey, what's this? So hand under the belly, applying a little bit of pressure and counting in my head to at least 3. Yes, good girl. Yeah, here, come on this way. Or don't. Looking at her ears, so flipping that ear back, adding a little bit of massage this week. Yes, good girl. That will help her get ready for future ear cleanings. Yes. If she ever gets an ear infection, they have to stick a Q-tip in there to collect a sample, so that'll be helpful. Yes, having her used to things up near her ears and possibly in her ears. So with the tail, again, we lift the tail to prep her for getting her temperature taken, having her groomed back there. Yes, good girl. Neither of those are super quick, so we want to build the duration of how long, good girl, she lets us hold up her tail. You're so pretty. Can we face this way a little? So having her focus on food while I lift back the fur around her eyes. Yes, good girl. Lifting up a lip. Yes. Again, adding duration for that this week. Yes. Trying to get the lip back a little bit further so I can see the back teeth. Get it? Different this week, we introduced some grooming equipment. So we'll start with the nail trimmers. This week was just kind of getting her used to the trimmers approaching her body. Good girl. So while she's focused on food, we'll bring the trimmers down to a leg. Yes, good girl. Yes, good job. And repeat that on the opposite side. Hey, right here. Good girl. Yes. Good job. Yes. Good girl. Get it. So with the nail trimmers, I am starting, I know nail trimmers, we trim their nails, we trim their paws, but I am starting in a neutral zone of up near the shoulders, and then I'm gliding down her body. Yes, good girl. I'm staying connected with her body as I move towards the body part that I'm aiming for. That way she's not startled by them just coming right into her paws or bouncing on her body as we get down. A nice, gentle, gradual motion down to her paws. Good girl. And the last piece of equipment we introduced this week is the brush. So for that, I'm using the soft side, so there are no bristles. She's chewing on some food in my hand. Swipe, swipe. Good girl. Clicking and feeding for her, being okay with that. Getting her attached to another piece, we're gonna swipe up near her head. She's gonna be a fluffy girl, so we need to make sure that we're able to brush her head, her chest, her legs. Just now I was approaching her chest. Good girl, and just doing a few swipes with the soft side of the brush. Good girl, get it. And we will just finish up with a few repetitions of a name game. Just gonna get a water break real quick. You know, it's lots of cookies. You're doing great. Okay, ready? Get it. Sophie. This is Chase Me. Sophie. Good. Sophie. Good girl. And then the flying cookie game, which we've been playing. Toss that get it cookie. Get it. Sophie. Good girl. Different direction. Get it. Move yourself. Sophie. Good job. And that is it for our week 2 recap.